Welcome back to Unfiltered Perspectives. This is 2025 and our first recording of the year. Excited to be here.
Woohoo!
Yeah, excited to be here, guys. So I'm Tara here with my amazing co-hosts.
I'm Kimberly.
And I'm Leslie.
Today we are kicking off 2025 with a brand new series. Surprise, guys! We're kicking off 2025 with a brand new series.
Woohoo!
And And this 3-part series is going to be called New Attitude, Letting Go of What No Longer Serves You. Today's episode is going to be all about recognizing the areas in our lives that keep us stuck, whether it's behaviors, relationships, or even our own thoughts. Because sometimes we do hold on to those things, certain things, because they feel familiar, even when they're not necessarily helping us grow. So we are going to talk about how to recognize and release those patterns. Yeah, so hopefully by the end of today's episode, we hope that all of us will feel encouraged to take a closer look at what might be holding us back. And next week, we're going to talk about how to let those things go. Remember, this is Unfiltered Perspectives, where real talk leads to real growth, and every perspective is valued.
That is awesome. That is an interesting topic. I knew kind of where we were going, so that is a bit of a surprise. You went a little bit more in depth, so this should be very, very interesting. Are you going to start us off with a specific question or?
Yeah, I am. I guess the way I thought we'd go about this is I do have a couple of specific questions for us and also, I guess, for our listeners to reflect on. And the first one is going to be, how do we know when something is no longer serving us? What are your thoughts?
Are we starting with me?
Anybody just pop in. If you want me to start, I can.
It's very interesting because I'm in a group, and last night one of the young ladies in the group gave us an assignment, and this put me back to that assignment last night. And but what her assignment was to give 3 things that slows us down or trips us up. And going back to what you said, it kind of makes me think about the same thing. Things that no longer serve us kind of puts me in that same space.
Mm-hmm.
And I think about relationships, whether it's a dating relationship or someone in the family that just, it's just not working out, or a work relationship, whatever it is that you just can't give any more energy to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you keep going back to it and keep ending up in the same place. Tara, our bishop, the prayer call that we're on, and he said some things we have to leave in 2024. Don't bring it into the new year. All of these topics, all of these things are reminding me of what we're talking about right now,
Mm-hmm.
that trip us up or slow us down or doesn't serve us. You have to let it go. And sometimes it's the relationship or self-doubt. I'm reading something now called, I'll come back to you guys with that, what the book is, but it's about high-fiving yourself every morning and being your own encouragement.
Mm-hmm.
So I think about the things that trip you up, the relationships that don't serve you, the self-doubt and beating yourself up about your past. All of those things is what comes to mind with what you're asking, Tara, and just the things that have been coming up just the last couple of days about what trip you up. And I hope I'm answering your question because I feel like I'm kind of all over the place, but it just seems like that has been the topic of conversation the past few days. And I guess just it being the beginning of the new year.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
What was that Hebrew scripture, chapter 12? What verses?
Verses 1 through 3, because I want to it's fitting for what we're talking about today.
Mm-hmm. So I generally read the New Revised Standard Version, but it's therefore, since we are surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses, let us also lay aside every weight and the sin that clings so closely, and let us run with perseverance that race that is set before us,
Mm.
looking to Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of faith, who for the sake of the joy that was set before him endured the cross, disregarding its shame, and has taken his seat at the right hand of the throne of God. Consider him who endured such hostility against himself for sinners, so that you may not grow weary in your souls or lose heart.
Mm. Laying aside every weight and not grow weary. Those are the two phrases that stood out to me. Okay, thank you. I yield the floor. I felt a little bit like I was rambling, so I hope I was clear to everyone that's listening.
No, that felt good to me. How do I know? So I don't want to bring us too quickly to what we want to talk about in sections 2 and 3, but right now it's like, how do I know when something's not serving me? Is that,
Yes.
yeah. So generally, I think if I'm struggling, right? If I'm unhappy,
Mm-hmm.
which also, I mean, you have to have a sense of what happiness feels like for you to even know that.
Yeah.
But if I'm unhappy, if I'm struggling, if I'm not feeling fulfilled, if I'm feeling disconnected from myself, if the things that I am doing are just not having the effect that I intend for them to be having, like
Mm-hmm.
both for myself or for other people, right? If I'm running around trying to do all these things for other people and even that's not working, I mean, those are some of the ways that I know something ain't right.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good.
When you don't have a peace, when you don't have a peace about it all,
Mm-hmm.
when you don't have a peace and like you said, when you're struggling, and sometimes you have to be selfish. It's okay to be selfish when you're continuously putting others before yourself and it's not appreciated and sometimes it's not reciprocated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's a constant struggle and yeah, you keep getting back to the same place of just I guess discord. Yeah.
Yeah, those are both, those are important parts. And for myself, I think that it often starts with feeling frustration or feeling resentment or
Mm-hmm.
feeling like I'm stuck in a loop. And instead of feeling happiness or joy or even contentment, I feel drained. And it's not necessarily even bad things that I'm talking about. Sometimes even good habits or relationships, they can feel like they no longer align with or stack up with, who I feel that I am or who I want to be. For instance, there are times where I realize that I tend to play the role of a people pleaser or a problem solver, people pleaser, but you know, the people pleaser, the problem
Mm-hmm.
solver,
Mm-hmm.
like old reliable, so to speak. And on the outside, I'm smiling and I'm handling everything okay. But on the inside, I can be seething, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I've caught myself doing this sometimes out of fear or because I'm overly concerned about
Perception.
perception, yeah, or overly concerned about other people's feelings. And the
Mm-hmm.
truth about that, though, is that it's not helping me grow at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's keeping me stuck in a role that doesn't necessarily even feel true to who I am.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So, like, have you guys ever found yourself like stuck in a pattern where what looked fine to other people, right? But doesn't necessarily feel right to you?
It's interesting because the message yesterday was about removing the mask.
Okay.
And I'm telling you, these last couple of days is fitting right into everything that I've heard is fitting right into what we're talking about. Removing that mask because you want to look a certain way to everyone else. And again, it's not serving you.
Mhm.
It's not making you comfortable. You're uncomfortable trying to make everyone around you comfortable. And it's time to remove the mask. You're not being true to God and you're not being true to yourself.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so part of the reason that we're discussing this today, is because I have been thinking a lot about when we ended last year, we were talking about resolutions or stepping into this new year and what we were, and I guess posed a challenge for us to like come up with some things for this new year that is going to, challenge us to help us grow. And in reflecting on what I wanted that to look like for myself, I decided that, you know what, I want 2025 to be something fresh for me. And we're going to probably talk about this more next week when we talk about, what are some things that we can do to make this happen. But yeah, I decided that what I left behind, not leaving because it's over, it's gone. What I left
Hmm.
behind in 2024 is that old role of not being true to who I want to be, not being true to what it is that's going to help me develop into the person that I ultimately want to become. And I say that I'll be 53. Oh my gosh. I'll be 53 in a couple of weeks
Hmm.
and I'm still growing. I'm still developing. I'm still becoming that person that I want to be. And I see this as me being on a I don't want to say meteoric, but a forward trajectory. I'm going up and I'm going to grow into that adult that I want to be. And I'm going to grow into that person who's closer to herself and to God wants her to be and who I don't want to say I'm not going to give too.
Rat's tails.
Yes, let's keep it that way. About what that looks like or feels like for other people. I'm not living for other people anymore. I'm living for Tara.
Hmm.
I'm living for
I love
Tara.
it.
And hopefully that aligns with what's good for others. But if not, hey, I'm sorry. Find your path. Hope it aligns with mine.
Hmm. Hmm. I love it.
But I feel good about it. I feel good about it. And can you guys think of, or are there any, and this is just not for you guys, us here, but also to our listeners,
Right.
are there areas in your life that feel stagnant or that feel unsatisfying, right? Are there even good things in your life that aren't necessarily helping you to grow? Are there situations, are there relationships or anything that make you feel resentful or frustration because those are feelings that will tether you. Those are feelings that will hold you back. And as I said, we're going forward. We're not going to stay stuck. We're moving forward. And this may not necessarily be for everybody because there are people who are absolutely content with where they are. And hey, power to you. I'm just saying right
Right.
now, there are aspects of my life that I'm not happy with. And that's not about other people. It's about how I am presenting myself to the world or how I feel like I am. And this is weird because generally I feel that I present in a positive way and I feel that I'm contributing in a positive way. But when I step back and I examine and I look at what it is that I wish that I were doing differently or doing better, I see room for improvement. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's just not something where I'm not satisfied yet.
Hmm.
And because
Hmm.
I'm not satisfied, I know that there's room for growth.
Hmm. Hmm. Kimberly,
I don't know. I'm pretty happy with my life.
Yeah, and that's a
that's
great place to
amazing.
be. That's a great place to be.
That's amazing.
I mean,
I want
I,
to be
I
I want to
feel
be like you when I grow up.
I feel called to the work that I do. I'm always like not just like hoping to, but like working to do better at it. I also will say when I turned 50, those months leading up to me turning 50, I did spend some time with the therapist because I wanted to go into the second half of my life feeling more, I don't know, more space, more room to be who I am, more authentic, more comfortable, more aligned with what I want to be doing in my life. So I feel content. I feel happy. It doesn't mean that there's not room to grow. I reflect all the time about what's not working, how I can make it work better.
There's
So for
definitely.
example, yeah.
No, go ahead.
So right now, I'm on sabbatical. Highly recommend. 10 out of 10. And one of the things that I want to do with this time is to re reset so that I'm not so busy all the time and that I don't feel busy and rushed. It's not like a major thing about who I am, but it is about how I have been like living my life these last few months, right? That so I've taken on too many things and it doesn't give me time to focus enough on each of those things. And so that's one of the ways I'm trying to reset with this year. Not like major, but it feels important.
It sounds important. Leslie, you're saying?
No, I thought Kim was finished and I didn't want to interrupt her. I I definitely have room for improvement with a lot of areas, but what I like what you were saying, Tara. What I'm not going to do this year is those relationships that I was so consumed with in 2024, washing my hands of them, so to speak. There are three relationships in particular that weighed heavy on me last year and years prior that I'm just not going to consume myself with, not to toot my own horn. I'm kind of a big deal, and they're missing out.
There you go.
Okay. And that's just it. I feel like I have a lot to offer, whether it's family, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a personal relationship, whatever it is. If I'm not in communication with these people, I've extended, this olive branch and so on and so forth. And so, like I said, I may be missing out, but they definitely are. And so this year, as I'm focusing on the people that are focusing on me and building better relationships with the people that want the love that I have to offer, focusing on new business ventures, focusing on deeper relationship with God, and I told you guys before, reading more. The book, I put it in our chat for you guys to see, but for the listeners, it's Kim, can you see it?
Mel
Wait,
Robbins, The High
Mel
Five
Robbins,
Habit.
yeah. The high five habit. High fiving myself every morning. Sometimes you got to be your own cheerleader, whatever works to motivate yourself. And that's just kind of where I am. I'm on this journey to just kind of stay positive, get my peace back, get my joy back, encourage myself, and good vibes all around me, and just trying to, stay positive. Enough of this self doubt because boy, can I self sabotage. I have a book in front of me, Megan Logan, Self Love Workbook for Women. Release self doubt, build self esteem, and embrace who you are. That's another workbook that I'm working on right now. So, couple of books in front of me. I've committed to 12 books this year because you guys, all the listeners know by now, this girl does not care for reading at all. I think because my brain has been so busy, I can't focus. A little bit of ADD. Chase the Lion is another one. If your dream doesn't scare you, it's too small. Sarah Jakes, Colliding with Destiny. So this year is just about focusing on moving forward and being the best me I can be.
That's fantastic. That's
Okay.
fantastic. I love it. Absolutely love it.
Mm-hmm.
As you guys know, like I am a life coach, and one of the things that I offer are self-improvement workshops. And I have a 4-month series, sorry, which started a couple of weeks ago, earlier in the year, and we had our first session the week before last, I believe it was. And it was amazing. It was really amazing. And I am just having so much fun with that because not only, do I help other people, but in having these conversations and working with others, I am also, like I said, continuously growing and learning.
Mm-hmm.
So that's great.
I may have to get in on that.
Do it.
In another month or so, I may have to get in on that because, yeah, I'm a work in progress. We all are,
We all are,
always.
of course. Yep. One scripture that speaks to this idea of what we've been talking about is, in addition to the one that you mentioned, the Hebrews, is Isaiah 43,
I love that one.
verses 18 and 19.
Mhm.
Remember not the former things, nor consider the things of old. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? I will make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. I will make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. And to me, that is powerful because it reminds me that God is always working on something new in my life. But in order to see it, I have to stop clinging to what's behind me. And so where
Mhm.
before I I can't say that I was necessarily content, but I will say I was habituated. Is that even a word? I was in the habit of I was in the habit of being, I don't even know the right word, not a cash cow or a scapegoat, but some kind of animalistic metaphor. I'm not doing that anymore. I am gonna, like I said before, I'm gonna be here for me. That's not even, that sounds so selfish, but I don't mean it in that way.
But it's okay.
Yeah,
Hmm.
but I really don't even mean it in that way. I just mean that whereas before I would kind of be like a doormat, I guess, or be the person that, as I said, all reliable. But if that is not going to help me progress, if that is not going to be a positive experience or in my life, then I can no longer be that for somebody else. I will
Hmm.
no longer be that for anybody
Hmm.
else.
Hmm.
So,
Except me. No, I'm just
nope,
kidding.
not here. Listen
No,
up,
I'm just
not
kidding.
even you.
No, I'm just kidding.
Can I give you two analogies?
Yes.
So one of them is I know everybody's familiar with this airplane thing, right? About putting on your own safety mask, your own
Yes,
air
that
mask
came
before
up
you put on
yesterday
somebody else,
also.
right? I
Absolutely.
mean, here you are trying to help somebody else and you pass out and now you're not helping nobody.
Right. Right.
And so the other thing that I like to use is this idea of teacup and a saucer, right? And so our spiritual or emotional or whatever kinds of energies are filling this teacup. If you are pouring from the cup, eventually it will get depleted. What we
Hmm.
want is for our cup to be overflowing,
You
and
get
so
my
that we are serving
overflow.
from the saucer. Yes,
Mm,
serving from the saucer, not the teacup.
Mm-hmm.
right. So you get my overflow.
Uh-huh.
Mm, mm, yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. I had a favor I needed, but I'm afraid to ask Tara now because she's on this new journey of,
Listen,
being.
if it serves me, if it helps.
I'm gonna have to talk to her later after I pray about it and see whether I should ask her or not. No, I'm just kidding. It was something I had asked for a
Oh,
while
okay.
ago. So she's
Oh,
committed. She's committed to it now. So she
oh,
already said, yeah.
um, yeah, because I've been thinking like, hey, I'm done. But that person who was always only ever in contact when she needs something, and you know what? I'm gonna let that go. I mean, we're gonna talk about this next week. That's gonna be letting go of relationships that I don't need you. I don't need you
Mm,
in my life. So
mm,
your
mm,
face got
mm,
mad when I mentioned that just now.
mm,
So,
mm, mm,
So
mm.
this lady said, I don't care. She about to learn.
She gonna learn today.
She about to learn.
all right. So,
Yeah.
gotta wrap up.
We're yeah, so we can talk about people. Go ahead.
Mhm. So today, guys, we have explored the importance of recognizing what no longer serves us. And it's not easy, but it is necessary in order for us to create space for growth and space for renewal in our lives. So let's take some time this week to reflect on the questions that I brought forward earlier and lean into the idea that God is doing something new in our lives. Remember, this process is going to be about grace not guilt. And I bring it up because I know myself, I'm talking big right now, but at some point, the guilt is going to be like,
Yeah, knocking at your door.
yes. So
Mm-hmm.
you're allowed to grow, you're allowed to change, and the guilt should have no part in it. And we guys, we are here to grow right alongside you.
Can I say also, you're allowed to grow, you're allowed to change, you're also allowed, and I think expected, to prioritize yourself at least some of the time.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So next week, we'll continue our series with episode 2, Fresh Start and Fresh Winds. We'll talk about how to embrace change and how to take those first steps towards a new attitude. You don't want to miss it.
We're going to play some Patti LaBelle?
New attitude.
Have the right.
Can
I got a new attitude.
Can I just sing it? Can we just sing it? We have, those rights.
Make sure to subscribe and share this episode with someone who needs a little encouragement to let it go.
Yes. Am I wrapping us up?
Mm-hmm.
Great. I will remind people that we'll have those questions and maybe our show notes, definitely our Facebook page. Listen, for the time being, who knows how much longer we're going to be hanging out on Facebook, but for the time being, we're still there. Come find these questions that Tara posed. You can also find these books that we're reading and share with us what you are letting go of this year. Find us on Unfiltered Perspectives at Facebook, Unfiltered Perspectives IG on Instagram, and now you can also find us on Blue Sky.
This was a great topic. I look forward to getting back with you all next week. And remember, in 2025, it is growth without guilt.
Whew, love it.
We'll see you next time.
Peace.